Welcome back. So I'm still reading the national bestseller Salvation, Black People in Love, written by the author Bell Hooks. I'm in chapter 7, Cherishing Single Mothers. Continuing, by emphasizing the negative, I do not mean to imply that all black fathers are unkind, cruel, or irresponsible. However, if there were a large mass of loving black fathers eager to assume material responsibility for their children and able to provide emotional nurturance, there would be no need to discuss absent fathers, for there would be no problem. Commitment to co-parenting, either when they're present in the home or after the parents break up, would still ensure that black fathers could play a meaningful role in the lives of their children. So I'm sticking a pin here, and I'm proud to announce that recent research has shown that black fathers who live outside of the home are excelling at co-parenting, especially scoring at higher rates when compared to other men. Continuing, scapegoating single black mothers has allowed black men to deflect attention away from a discussion of the meaning of parenting in their lives. We live in a culture where all men have access to practical, affordable, and adequate forms of birth control. No responsible man need father children he does not want to care for. Sticking a pin here, that always baffles my mind. That patriarchal men, not men in partnerships, men who want to be in control, they never want to be in control of birth control, and they never want to take responsibility for pregnancies. I just think, if you want to be in control, being a leader means taking responsibility. Continuing, until our society stops blaming single mothers, the necessary scholarship that looks at male motives for fathering children that they do not parent will never be undertaken. How can you leave your child and not wonder what's happening to the baby? Concurrently, bashing single mothers does not change the reality that single-parent households are becoming more a norm for all groups. These families are usually headed by women, rather than negatively stereotyping these families as, quote, at risk, end quote, or as pathological. Scholars need to highlight single-parent female-headed households that are loving environments. Significantly, the refusal of our nation to recognize the extraordinary contribution of single mothers who give loving care is tied to the sexist assumption that caregiving is inherently a female trait and not a choice. And sticking a pin there, it's insulting to men who are excellent caregivers, excellent fathers, excellent uncles. Continuing, yet the fact that some women are from the onset of childbirth unwilling to nurture or give care exposes the fallacy of this myth. While many fathers choose to turn away and abandon children, mothers faced with the same freedom of choice not only stay but do the work of providing economic and emotional stability in the home. That choice is a valuable contribution to family life in our nation. These families are usually no more unstable than those with benevolent patriarchal males present. Much of the attack on black single mothers has centered on the issue of parenting black boys. When the men's movement first began, its leaders insisted that boys could not be taught how to be men by women, that they needed a male presence. These comments were bandied about without any facts to show that male children raised by single mothers suffer more substantive lack than boys raised in two-parents households do not. Of course, experiential reality does not support this claim. Many of the men, black and non-black, who have become important leaders in our society, men of wisdom, integrity, and right action, were raised by single mothers. Granted, there are examples of boys raised by single mothers who do not succeed in life, but we see the same problem in boys who had both male and female parental caregivers present. In the case of my own brother, raised in a God-fearing patriarchal home where our mother did not work and our father provided, parental shaming of our brother for being sensitive and gentle, for not being a stellar athlete, was wounding and terribly detrimental to his growth. His temporary fall into irresponsible behavior and addiction was utterly linked to the lack of loving care by our dad. Until this nation can acknowledge that patriarchal fathers who use coercion and other forms of violence to discipline children do not raise healthy, self-loving children, there will be no clear understanding of the value of any male choosing to be a loving parent. Okay. Concurrently, when this knowledge is taken into consideration by those who harshly judge single-parent households, the value of women's contribution in raising healthy boys can be fully recognized. Clearly, females can raise psychologically whole and healthy boys. Single mothers raising children alone seem to understand better than anyone that it is important for children to have positive, caring interactions with men. Before the breakdown of neighborhood communalism and the formation of the privatized world of housing projects, which isolated poor women and children, there was no black single mother who raised a child without the input of adult male elders and peers. And even in the face of the obstacles privatized housing creates, loving black single mothers make sure that their children have the opportunity to learn from men by interacting with them. They see this as important for both male and female children. Again, it must be stated that single mothers welcome the participation of male parental caregivers. There is no evidence to the contrary. However, there is plenty of evidence that men who are dominating and disruptive, who are violent and abusive, are not welcome in healthy female-headed households. Way too many women have internalized guilt about single parenting that has been unjustly placed upon them by our society, and have sought to bring men into the home and keep them there even when the men were disruptive, exploitative, and cruel. These women are merely following the dictates of a society which tells them that the home is a better place if a man is present. Any man is better than no man, right? That's what they try to convince people. But an abusive man, a disruptive man, a unkind man, that's where we get generational trauma. That's where we get generational damage in our community. No home is a good environment to raise children in if parents are not loving. There's a big difference between unloving female-headed households and those that are loving. A dysfunctional parent will not create a healthy environment for children. This is as true of the female-headed single-parent household as it is of the male-headed single-parent household. It is equally true of the two-parent household. Children grow best physically and emotionally in homes where they're loved. Love is the key ingredient. Love is the key ingredient. But you can tell me what you think about the material. Thanks so much for listening.